Chapter 1. The Forbidden Sand. The twin suns of Ro-Perith blazed mercilessly across a barren horizon that stretched into infinity, turning the desert planet into a vast furnace where golden sands shifted like restless waves on an endless sea. The air shimmered with heat, creating distant mirages that teased the eyes and warped the senses. But amid this harsh landscape stood a relic so incongruous it seemed to mock the ravages of time itself. An immense pyramid carved from what looked like black obsidian, its gleaming surfaces untouched by the erosion of millennia. Rising more than a kilometer above the dune line, the monolith cut a dark silhouette against the twin suns, its perfect angles defying nature's chaotic hand. It was a monument that should have been forgotten, buried beneath the shifting sands. Yet here it stood, ancient and alive with a latent energy that hummed softly, as if waiting patiently for the right moment to awaken. Elias Grange, an archaeologist and scholar with a penchant for dangerous expeditions, blinked behind the tinted visor of his helmet, sweat trickling down his neck despite the cooling systems in his armor-weave coat. He had spent years chasing legends across the outer rim-ghost worlds, lost civilizations, forbidden relics, and yet nothing had prepared him for the sight that loomed before him now. He crouched low, his gloved hand brushing aside a thin layer of sand to reveal a smooth, glassy surface inscribed with symbols that pulsed faintly with an inner light. The glyphs were unfamiliar, but their artistry was exquisite, as if crafted by hands that understood geometry not as a science, but as a language of the cosmos. The pyramid was no mere tomb or monument. It was something far older and far more profound, a testament to a civilization or power beyond anything recorded in known history. Beside Elias, Zira moved with a grace that contrasted sharply with the harshness of their surroundings. She was a native of the Shalian, a species indigenous to Ro-Perith, but she was unlike any alien Elias had encountered. Her skin shimmered with the subtle iridescence of desert quartz, ranging from deep emerald to hues of silver and gold, depending on how the light caught her. Long braids of silver hair, woven with copper rings and bone beads, framed her angular face, her large, almond-shaped eyes glowing faintly with an ancient wisdom and a hint of sorrow. Though her stature was imposing, Zira's demeanor was quiet and reserved, a stark contrast to the wild, unforgiving environment she seemed so attuned to. She had been Elias's reluctant guide since he landed on Ro-Perith 3 days ago, leading him through blistering heat and swirling sandstorms to the pyramid's hidden location. Yet for all her silence, there was an intensity in her gaze now, one that spoke of reverence, fear, and a weight of secrets too heavy for words. Elias rose to his full height and surveyed the pyramid's base, where massive triangular panels slid seamlessly into one another, their surfaces untouched by the desert's harshness. He stepped closer, every sense heightened as the faint hum grew louder, a low vibration that thrummed through the soles of his boots and into his bones. He reached out instinctively, his gloved fingertips grazing the black stone, and immediately felt a coldness that was impossible in this sun-scorched wasteland. The temperature around the pyramid seemed to drop several degrees, sending a shiver up his spine despite the oppressive heat of the planet. The moment his skin made contact with the obsidian surface, a ripple of energy coursed through him, like a silent pulse awakening after eons of dormancy. "Don't touch it yet," Zira warned suddenly, stepping forward to place a hand on his arm. Her voice was soft but urgent, laced with a caution born from generations of oral history and superstition. "The pyramid is alive in ways you cannot understand, Elias. It waits for the one who carries the spark, the key not of flesh, but of destiny." He looked down at her, surprised by the solemnity in her tone. "You brought me all this way, across the stars, to this forsaken place. You said the pyramid would respond to me. If not now, then when?" Zira's eyes shifted skyward, toward the 3 slender obelisks that hovered just above the pyramid's apex, spinning slowly in defiance of gravity. Between them, a beam of pale blue light flickered intermittently, casting long, distorted shadows across the sand. "The obelisks are guardians," she said, "part of an ancient mechanism designed to protect the gate from those unworthy. This pyramid has waited through millennia, hidden beneath sand and myth, until the right time. The prophecy speaks of a being not born of this world, a catalyst to awaken the old power. If you are that being, the pyramid will recognize you, but the choice to awaken it is yours. Elias swallowed hard. His scientific mind resisted the pull of superstition and legend, but something deep inside stirred with the force of an old instinct. He took a cautious step forward, then another, as if drawn by a force beyond reason. The pyramid seemed to pulse in response, the symbols lining its base igniting one by one in lines of glowing crimson that spread like veins of fire. A deep, mechanical groan emanated from beneath the sands, a sound not of stone cracking, but of immense gears turning after untold ages of stillness. The desert wind seemed to hush, carrying an electric charge that set the hairs on the back of his neck on edge. Zira's hand tightened on his arm, but she did not stop him. The door will open only to you, Elias. If you are the key, the gate will welcome you. But once opened, there is no turning back. He glanced down at her face, lit by the pulsating glow of the symbols, and saw an emotion that transcended words: hope, fear, and an unyielding determination forged by a lifetime of waiting. He raised his hand again, fingertips touching the cool, smooth surface of the pyramid, and felt the ancient energy flood through him. The world seemed to hold its breath. With a sound like thunder rolling beneath the earth, a section of the pyramid shifted and slid aside, revealing a doorway bathed in shimmering blue light that spilled out like liquid sky onto the sand. The air that poured from within was cool and crisp, carrying the scent of ozone and ancient stone, a stark contrast to the blistering desert outside. The sand at the entrance parted as if beckoning, revealing a stairway that descended into the heart of the pyramid's mysteries. Elias stumbled back, overwhelmed by the reality of what had just happened, but Zira stepped forward without hesitation, her eyes fixed on the glowing portal. "We must go inside," she said quietly. "The time has come to uncover what was hidden before the stars had names." He hesitated only a moment before following her into the abyss, the blue light enveloping them like a promise and a warning. As they descended, the world above faded away, replaced by the hum of power and the flicker of symbols dancing on walls that seemed alive with the memory of civilizations long lost. The air grew cooler, denser with the weight of countless secrets, and Elias's heart hammered with a mix of dread and exhilaration. This was no ordinary ruin. It was a gate to something beyond history and legend, a door that had waited across time for a touch that would awaken its slumbering soul. Inside, the pyramid's interior defied all logic and expectation. Walls shimmered with translucent, crystalline layers etched with circuits that glowed softly, their patterns shifting like living glyphs. They cast an ethereal light that illuminated vast chambers filled with floating orbs displaying galaxies, timelines, and worlds in perpetual motion. Each sphere told a story of creation and destruction, of empires rising and falling, of civilizations scattered like stardust. It was as if the pyramid contained a record not just of Roperith but of the universe itself, a living archive of cosmic history and forgotten futures. Zira moved ahead with purpose, her footsteps echoing softly on the crystalline floor. "This place is a constructor, not just a gate," she murmured. "It was designed to build and reshape realities, to hold the essence of life itself. Our ancestors feared it, but also revered it, for it is a power beyond reckoning." Elias reached out tentatively toward one of the floating orbs, his fingertips brushing its surface. The image within rippled, showing a vibrant planet teeming with strange flora and fauna, landscapes both alien and beautiful. It shifted again, revealing bioluminescent jungles beneath violet skies, and then morphed into a map of stars, some glowing bright, others faded to darkness. He could feel the pulse of life, the ebb and flow of creation encoded in the pyramid's heart. Their path led them deeper into the core, where a vast chamber awaited, a throne room of black stone and radiant light. Upon the throne sat a figure wrapped in chains of shimmering energy, silent and still, its form humanoid but otherworldly. Elias felt the weight of its gaze even though its face was obscured, as if the entity itself acknowledged their arrival. Suddenly, a voice echoed not through the chamber, but directly into Elias's mind, a voice that was both ancient and immediate, like the whisper of stars themselves. "You have come at last, bearer of the ignition. The universe forgets, but we remember. Elias's breath caught in his throat. What? What are you? We are what the stars were built upon, the architects before time. You have opened the gate. Now you must choose release what has been sealed, or return to oblivion. Zira's grip on Elias's arm was steady but trembling. The choice is yours. Once opened, there is no going back. And as the echoes of the ancient voice faded into silence, Elias understood that this was not just a discovery. It was a summons. The pyramid had waited across eons for him. The chamber where the throne sat was vast beyond comprehension, its ceiling disappearing into a blur of shimmering starscape projections that seemed to curve space itself. Elias's eyes struggled to take it all in the vastness, the silence punctuated only by the slow pulse of the glowing chains that bound the figure. The energy chains emitted a soft hum, like the song of a distant star, their patterns etched with the same symbols that adorned the pyramid's exterior. They shimmered with shifting colors, from deep violet to brilliant azure, their light reflecting in Zira's wide eyes, as if revealing a truth she had long tried to deny. She crouched slightly beside Elias, whispering, "This is the Guardian, the ancient sentinel who once held the knowledge and power of a vanished race. It was imprisoned here not as a punishment, but as a safeguard locked away so its power could never be misused." Elias's mind raced. What kind of power could be locked away in this place? What was the cost of awakening it? His fingers tightened around the triangular shard Zira had given him earlier, the shard that had somehow called to the pyramid, triggering the door to open. The shard pulsed in his palm, its warmth contrasting sharply with the cold stone of the throne chamber. He realized with a chill that this artifact wasn't just a key, but a tether linking him to something far greater and older than any human technology or history he had encountered. The silent figure on the throne stirred then, a slow movement like a ripple across a still lake. Though its face remained obscured by shadows and light, Elias felt the weight of its gaze now focused entirely on him, filling the room with a presence that was almost tangible, a force of will and intelligence that transcended physical form. The voice echoed again inside his head, softer this time, almost a caress. "You have been chosen because you carry within you the spark of creation and destruction, the balance of life's eternal dance. To unlock the future, you must understand the past." Zira placed a hand on Elias's shoulder, grounding him. "Our people have feared this moment for generations. The prophecy spoke of a stranger from the stars, one whose touch would awaken the gate and release the ancient memory. Many believe it will bring salvation, others, doom." Elias swallowed hard. "And you? What do you believe?" Her eyes darkened, flickering with the weight of history and loss. "I believe the truth lies somewhere in between. This pyramid is a crossroads. We stand on the edge of revelation or oblivion." For a moment, the silence enveloped them again, thick with the heavy air of fate. Elias glanced at the glowing symbols spiraling around the throne chamber's walls. They weren't just decorations. They were alive, responding to his presence. The patterns shifted, encoding streams of information he couldn't yet decode, but could feel in the very marrow of his bones. Then, as if compelled by some unseen force, Elias raised the shard and pressed it gently against the base of the throne. The moment the artifact touched the ancient stone, the chains of light binding the figure began to unravel slowly, dissolving into radiant threads of pure energy that floated upward and vanished into the starry projections above. The figure stirred fully now, rising with an ethereal grace that belied its weight. It stepped forward, the floor beneath glowing with constellations that seemed to shift with every movement. Elias felt an overwhelming wave of emotions: fear, awe, hope, all crashing within him. This being was no mere relic. It was a living remnant of a civilization that predated all known histories, a consciousness that had slept beneath the sands for eons, waiting for the moment it could awaken again. "You have opened the door," the voice said softly, reverberating through the chamber and his mind alike. "But now you must journey beyond, to understand what was lost and what must be reclaimed." Zira stepped closer, her voice firm despite the tremor in her hands. "The path beyond the gate leads to the heart of the pyramid and the memories it guards. It will test you, Elias, as it has tested all who came before. But you are the key. Without you, the past remains buried, and the future cannot be shaped. Elias took a deep breath, the weight of destiny settling on his shoulders. He stepped forward, feeling the cool floor beneath his boots pulse gently in time with his heartbeat. The glowing corridor ahead unfurled like a ribbon of stars, inviting him into the depths of the ancient structure where answers and perhaps dangers awaited. As he crossed the threshold, the pyramid seemed to awaken fully, the crystalline walls radiating light and sound in a symphony of forgotten knowledge. The desert world outside faded away, replaced by a reality both alien and beautiful, where time and space folded in on themselves like the pages of a cosmic book. Elias glanced back once, meeting Zira's steady gaze, finding in her eyes both encouragement and warning. Together, they ventured deeper into the unknown, bound by fate and the ancient promise of the pyramid's secrets. And thus began a journey that would unravel the mysteries of the stars, challenge the limits of humanity, and awaken forces older than the universe itself. Chapter 2. The Living Labyrinth. Descending into the heart of the pyramid was like slipping through the very fabric of reality itself. The crystalline walls around Elias and Zira shimmered with iridescent hues that shifted fluidly, soft blues melting into vibrant golds, deep purples fading into warm ambers, and the light seemed neither fully reflected nor emitted, but alive, as if the very structure pulsed with a consciousness of its own. Each step they took echoed softly on a floor composed of smooth obsidian tiles, cool beneath their boots despite the relentless desert heat above. The air was different here, heavy with an electric charge, saturated with the scent of ozone, and something indefinably ancient and sacred. Elias felt his pulse quicken, his mind awash in a mixture of trepidation and wonder. This place was no mere archaeological find, it was a living relic, a sentient memory encoded into matter, waiting to be explored and understood. As they ventured deeper, the corridor branched unpredictably, folding and twisting in ways that defied Euclidean geometry. What should have been a simple straight path curved in impossible arcs, revealing stairways that ascended and descended simultaneously, hallways that looped back on themselves, and doorways that seemed to appear and disappear like mirages. It was a labyrinth crafted not just of stone and light, but of spatial and temporal anomalies. Elias found himself reaching out instinctively, touching the walls, feeling them pulse softly beneath his fingertips, like the heartbeat of a colossal organism. Each contact sent a ripple of sensation up his arm, an electric thrill that sharpened his senses and heightened his awareness. Zira moved beside him with uncanny confidence, her every step measured and purposeful, as if she had walked these halls countless times in dreams or distant memories. Yet her face betrayed a flicker of uncertainty, a quiet fear lurking behind the serene facade. "The labyrinth is alive," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the low hum that filled the corridors. "It is a test, a crucible designed by those who built this place." They knew that only the worthy could unlock its secrets without being lost to its depths. Elias nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her words settle like a stone in his gut. The pyramid was not merely a gate or archive. It was a challenge, a living puzzle woven into the fabric of space and time itself. Every step forward was a choice, every turn a decision that could lead them deeper into enlightenment or trap them forever in an eternal maze. He glanced at the shard in his hand, its crimson glow steady and reassuring, the only constant in this shifting environment. Suddenly, the corridor ahead erupted in a cascade of symbols, flowing down the walls like molten fire. The glyphs spiraled and danced, forming intricate patterns that pulsed with radiant energy. Elias could feel the intelligence behind them, an ancient mind reaching out across millennia to communicate. He focused, straining to decipher the language encoded in light and sound. The patterns resolved into visions, fragments of history and prophecy, scenes of stellar empires rising and falling, worlds birthed in cosmic storms, and beings of unimaginable power wielding forces beyond mortal comprehension. One vision struck him with particular force, a planet engulfed in a violet storm, its surface scarred by titanic wars, inhabited by a race whose legacy was both their salvation and their curse. The scene shifted to a council of starborn sages debating the fate of the universe, their voices silent, but their determination palpable. Elias felt the weight of their decision, a choice to seal away knowledge and power to protect the cosmos from destruction, locking it within the pyramid's core until a chosen one could claim it. The builders were both creators and guardians, Zira said softly. They forged this labyrinth to preserve balance, to keep their power from falling into hands unready to wield it. You are that chosen one, Elias, but the path will not be easy. The pyramid will test your mind, your spirit, and your heart. As they moved forward, the floor beneath them rippled like liquid glass, and the walls shifted subtly, revealing hidden alcoves and chambers filled with artifacts that defied explanation. Elias found himself drawn to a pedestal where a translucent orb floated, containing swirling mists that glowed with inner light. Reaching out, he touched the orb, and instantly his mind was flooded with memories not his own, but those of an ancient being who had once walked the stars. He saw vast starships powered by living energy, civilizations that had transcended physical form, and cataclysms that reshaped galaxies. The knowledge was overwhelming, yet exhilarating, a gift and a burden passed down through time. Zira watched him closely, her eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and sorrow. The memories are a gift, but they come with a price. To wield the power of the pyramid, you must embrace both the light and the shadow within yourself. Elias withdrew his hand, breathless, the orb's vision fading but its impact lingering in his soul. He realized that this journey was as much about self-discovery as it was about unlocking ancient secrets. The pyramid demanded not just knowledge, but transformation. Further ahead, the labyrinth opened into a vast chamber dominated by a colossal crystalline structure that pulsed with radiant energy. It resembled a star suspended in space, its facets shimmering with the colors of distant nebulae. Elias approached cautiously, feeling the surge of power emanating from the core. As he laid his hand on its surface, the shard he carried responded, glowing brighter and resonating in harmony with the star crystal. The chamber filled with a symphony of light and sound, weaving a tapestry of cosmic truths and forgotten wisdom. In that moment, Elias understood that the pyramid was more than a relic. It was a beacon of hope and a testament to the enduring spirit of creation. Yet he also sensed the shadows lurking beneath the light, the dangers of awakening a power that could either save or shatter the universe. Zira stepped beside him, her voice steady but filled with urgency. We have come far, but the true test lies ahead. The pyramid will demand your sacrifice, Elias. Are you prepared to face what lies within? Elias met her gaze, determination blazing in his eyes. I didn't come this far to turn back now. Whatever this pyramid holds, I will face it. For the future of all worlds. Together, they pressed onward into the unknown, their path illuminated by the radiant glow of the pyramid's heart, where the secrets of the cosmos awaited their awakening. Chapter 3. The Echoes of Eternity. The deeper Elias and Zira ventured into the core of the pyramid, the more the air itself seemed to thicken with the weight of ancient memory, as if time had pooled into stagnant rivers around them, each ripple carrying echoes of forgotten epochs. The walls no longer merely crystalline structures shimmering with alien light became living canvases, weaving an endless tapestry of history and myth, their surfaces alive with scenes so vivid Elias could almost hear the distant clamor of vanished civilizations. His senses were flooded with an overwhelming mixture of awe and disquiet, for the pyramid was revealing itself not as a simple monument, but as a sentient archive, a cosmic library encoded into the very fabric of space and matter, holding the stories of worlds that existed before even the stars had names. Zira walked beside him, her stride steady yet cautious, as if she bore the burden of knowledge that weighed heavier than the crushing gravity of the pyramid itself. Her eyes, reflecting the shifting patterns of light on the walls, held a somber determination born of generations bound by duty and prophecy. We are not merely explorers in this place, she said softly, her voice carrying the echoes of ancestral wisdom. We are witnesses to the memories of those who shaped existence itself, architects of creation and destruction alike. The pyramid is a living chronicle of their choices, their triumphs, and their tragedies. To understand it, we must listen not only with our minds, but with our souls. Elias nodded, his gaze fixed on the glowing murals that unfolded before them like pages in a book written in the language of stars. One vast tableau depicted the birth of a galaxy, swirling clouds of gas and fire coalescing into radiant orbs of light, their surfaces alive with storms and shining continents. Another showed the rise and fall of a civilization so advanced that their technology blurred the line between science and magic beings who shaped matter with thought alone and traveled the currents of space-time like sailors on the sea. But alongside these moments of brilliance lay scenes of ruin and despair, cataclysms that tore worlds apart, wars that consumed entire star systems, and the eventual sealing away of knowledge too dangerous to wield. As they pressed forward, the floor beneath them transitioned from solid stone to a translucent platform that revealed an endless void swirling beneath, dotted with stars and galaxies in miniature. It was as if the pyramid itself was a microcosm of the universe, a place where the past, present, and future converged in an eternal dance. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine, the vertigo of standing on the edge of infinity, both terrifying and exhilarating. He reached out to steady himself on the glowing railing, his fingers brushing against the cool, pulsating energy that thrummed like a heartbeat. Suddenly, the pathway ahead shifted, dissolving into a corridor lined with floating panels that displayed streams of data and images, star charts, genetic sequences, mathematical formulas, and alien compendium of knowledge. Elias's heart quickened as he realized the pyramid was not only a repository of history, but a guide, offering the keys to unlock the mysteries of creation itself. Yet amidst the revelations lay warning symbols denoting chaos, entropy, and the fragility of balance. The message was clear. The power contained within was a double-edged sword, capable of bringing salvation or annihilation. Zira's voice broke through his reverie. The pyramid is alive with choice, Elias. Each vision you see is a path not taken or a future that might yet come to pass. Our journey is not just through these halls, but through the possibilities woven into the cosmos. You must decide what to awaken and what to leave buried. Elias absorbed her words, feeling the enormity of his role settle like a mantle over his shoulders. He was no longer merely an archaeologist or a curious human. He had become the fulcrum upon which the fate of countless worlds might pivot. The shard in his hand pulsed brighter, resonating with the pyramid's core, as if attuned to his resolve. He realized that his touch had not just opened a door, but had initiated a process of awakening that could not be reversed. The chamber ahead opened into a grand hall, where the air shimmered with waves of iridescent light that danced like the auroras of distant planets. At the center stood a pedestal carved from the same black obsidian as the pyramid's exterior, atop which rested a crystalline artifact radiating pure energy. Elias approached cautiously, the shard in his hand humming in response. As his fingers closed around the artifact, a surge of power coursed through him, flooding his mind with visions and sensations beyond human comprehension. He saw flashes of cosmic events, supernovae igniting the skies, civilizations rising from the ashes of stars, entities that transcended physical form and shaped reality with thought alone. He felt the weight of creation and destruction intertwined, the eternal cycle of birth and decay that governed all existence. The pyramid had preserved these echoes of eternity, waiting for a hand strong enough to bear their burden. Zira watched silently, her expression a mixture of hope and sorrow. The artifact is a key not just to knowledge but to power, she said. It contains the essence of the builders, their wisdom and their curse. To wield it is to accept responsibility for the balance of all things. Elias's breath came in shallow gasps as he grappled with the enormity of what he held. The artifact was alive in his grasp, a conduit to forces both wondrous and terrifying. He understood that this moment was a turning point not just for him, but for the countless lives connected through the web of the universe. The choices he made here would ripple across time and space, shaping the destiny of stars and civilizations. As he lifted the artifact, the pyramid responded, the walls glowing with intricate patterns that pulsed in harmony with the shard. A voice echoed once more in his mind, ancient and solemn, bearer of the ignition, you have awakened the echoes of eternity. The path ahead is fraught with peril and promise. Choose wisely, for the fate of creation lies in your hands." Zira stepped forward, her eyes reflecting the radiant light. "We must continue, Elias. The pyramid's heart awaits, and with it, the answers and trials that will define your journey." Together, they advanced deeper into the labyrinthine core, the air alive with the symphony of ancient power and the promise of revelation. The echoes of eternity resonated in their souls, a call to confront the past, embrace the present, and forge the future from the fragments of forgotten stars. Chapter 4: The Awakening and the Choice. The final depths of the pyramid were unlike anything Elias had imagined, a vast chamber suspended between dimensions where the fabric of reality itself seemed to waver like a reflection in rippling water. This place was no longer bound by earthly logic or the familiar laws of physics. Instead, it breathed and pulsed with the essence of creation, a living nexus of infinite possibility and eternal consequence. The walls, ceilings, and floors were fluid mosaics of light and shadow, continuously shifting scenes of cosmic birth and destruction, worlds rising and falling in majestic cycles, as though the entire universe were playing out in a silent, endless dance around him. The chamber hummed with a power both beautiful and terrifying, radiating a warmth that seeped into his bones and a coldness that whispered warnings of forgotten calamities. Here, at the heart of the pyramid, the ancient architects had gathered the culmination of their knowledge and will, a force that transcended the limits of time, space, and mortal comprehension. Elias's hand still held the crystalline artifact, its glow resonating in perfect harmony with the chamber's pulsating light, as if it were the key and he the lock, intertwined in a cosmic embrace. Beside him, Zira's eyes shone with a mixture of reverence and apprehension, the weight of generations carried in her steady gaze. "This is the moment," she murmured. "The final threshold. What you do here will shape not only your fate, but the destiny of every star, every life connected through the threads of existence." He swallowed the tightness in his throat and stepped forward, drawn toward the center of the chamber, where a colossal sphere of energy hovered in orb alive, with swirling galaxies and nascent stars, a mirror of the universe itself contained within the vastness of the pyramid's core. As Elias approached, the shard in his hand pulsed brighter, reacting to the energy with a rhythmic beat that echoed his own heart. The orb responded to his presence, expanding slowly, its surface rippling with the power of creation and destruction intertwined. It was as if the pyramid had distilled the infinite into a singular point, a nexus where all paths converged and where the choice to awaken or contain the primordial force rested in his grasp. Suddenly, the voice, the ancient, omnipresent consciousness that had guided him since his arrival reverberated through his mind, its tone both gentle and grave. "Bearer of the ignition, you stand at the crossroads of eternity. Within this chamber lies the power to remake the cosmos or to preserve the fragile balance that sustains it. The legacy of the architects is both gift and burden. To awaken fully is to embrace the chaos and order within all things. To reject is to let the flame die, allowing stagnation and decay to spread." Elias felt the enormity of the moment settle over him like a shroud. He was no longer merely a man from a distant world, but a pivotal force in an ancient design that had awaited his arrival across eons. The chamber responded to his thoughts, shimmering with visions of possible futures, galaxies thriving in harmony, civilizations ascending to godhood, but also realms consumed by darkness and oblivion. Each vision was vivid, a testament to the stakes of his choice. Zira stepped close, her voice trembling yet resolute. "The architects created this place as a safeguard, a trial for those deemed worthy. Your species, your very essence, has resonated with the pyramid's core. You are the catalyst, Elias. The question is, will you release its full potential or bind it once more in silence?" Elias closed his eyes, the weight of destiny pressing on his soul. Memories flooded his mind, his quiet childhood yearning for discovery, the thrill of uncovering lost relics, the harsh deserts of Roperith, and the enigmatic gaze of Zira, who had guided him beyond the veil of history into this living dream. In that moment, clarity blossomed amid the chaos. The power contained here was a reflection of creation's dual nature, the endless cycle of life and death, growth and decay, light and shadow. To wield it without understanding was to invite catastrophe. To reject it was to deny progress. He opened his eyes, determination shining in his gaze. "I will not turn away," he said firmly. "I accept the burden and the gift. If this pyramid holds the key to shaping the future, then I will face whatever trials come, for the sake of all who have come before and those yet to be born." The chamber responded instantly, the energy swirling faster, brighter, a crescendo of cosmic light enveloping Elias and Zira. The orb expanded, engulfing them in a radiant cocoon where time slowed and the boundaries of self dissolved. Visions surged through Elias's consciousness, universes being born from stardust, ancient architects sculpting existence with thought, and a delicate balance maintained through sacrifice and wisdom. He felt himself becoming one with the pyramid's memory, absorbing truths that transcended language and logic. Amid the torrent of revelation, a final image crystallized: an ancient being, once bound to the pyramid's heart, now freed, standing as a guardian and guide for the new age. The voice whispered once more, now a gentle promise: "You have awakened the eternal flame. The path ahead is yours to forge. Walk it with courage, for you carry the legacy of the stars." As the light faded and the chamber's shifting forms settled into a calm radiance, Elias and Zira found themselves standing before a newly revealed passage, a gateway leading out from the pyramid's core to the vastness beyond, to worlds waiting to be shaped by the power they had just claimed. The pyramid had awakened, and with it, a new chapter in the cosmic saga had begun. Together, they stepped through the gateway, ready to face the unknown with the strength of the architect's legacy burning within them. The universe awaited its new dawn. The gateway beyond the chamber glowed softly, a portal woven from strands of pure energy that rippled like liquid glass, reflecting the infinite stars scattered across the boundless void beyond. Elias felt an indescribable pull toward it, a siren call promising answers and challenges far beyond anything he had known. But as he stepped closer, a profound stillness settled over the moment, a quiet that seemed to hold the breath of the universe itself. The pyramid, no longer a silent monolith buried in desert sands, had become a living, breathing entity, an eternal witness to the cycle of creation and destruction, a crucible of destiny. Zira's voice broke through the silence, gentle but resolute. "The path ahead is not just a journey through space, but through the essence of existence itself. You carry the architect's legacy within you now. It is a burden and a beacon. What you do next will ripple through time and stars." Elias paused, feeling the weight of those words as deeply as the shard pulsing warmly in his palm. The choice he faced was no longer abstract, it was immediate, tangible. To step forward was to embrace the unknown, to wield power capable of remaking worlds or unraveling them. To turn away was to let the flame dim, leaving the cosmic balance fragile and unfulfilled. His heart hammered not with fear, but with the fierce clarity of purpose. He was a human, a species born of struggle, curiosity, and relentless hope, and now, the guardian of secrets older than the stars themselves. With steady breath, Elias reached out and touched the shimmering veil of the gateway. A surge of energy cascaded through him, and suddenly the chamber, the pyramid, the desert all dissolved into a kaleidoscope of light and sound. He felt himself drifting through layers of reality, memories not his own weaving around him like living threads. He saw civilizations rise in luminous cities forged from light, starships carving paths through nebulae, and a cosmic web of life pulsing with endless possibility. He understood then that the architects had not just preserved knowledge, they had entrusted him with the power to guide evolution itself. The journey through the gateway ended in a vast expanse of stars and galaxies, where Elias and Zira stood as small but radiant beacons against the cosmic tapestry. The shard in his hand now glowed steadily, no longer just a key, but a symbol of awakening and responsibility. Zira smiled softly, her eyes reflecting the stars. "You have taken the first step, Elias. The universe is vast, and the choices ahead will test your strength, your wisdom, and your compassion. But you are not alone." Elias looked out across the infinite night, feeling the pulse of creation beneath his skin. The pyramid's ancient promise was fulfilled not in a single moment, but in the endless unfolding of time and possibility. He was no longer just a man. He was a bearer of light in the dark, a catalyst for change. And with that, the story of the pyramid, of the architects, and of humanity itself entered a new chapter one where the echoes of eternity would shape the future of all existence. Together, Elias and Zira turned toward the unknown, ready to face whatever wonders and challenges awaited beyond the stars, united by a destiny forged in the heart of an ancient pyramid and the limitless promise of the cosmos.